What's up, everybody? Welcome to Sid's Little Corner of the Internet. Thanks for stopping by. This is Sid Sr. speaking, and today I'm going to be taking you on another Transformers review adventure. We're going to be taking a look at the Transformers Kingdom War for Cybertron Vertebreak. So as we always do here, first things first, let's take a look at that packaging. Bring that in. The War for Cybertron K3, third figure in this line. Vertebreak on the side, Transformers Kingdom War for Cybertron. Got some nice artwork there in the back. Transformers Authentic on the side. On the back you have your product shots. Vertebreak 14 steps. Sad baby. He is a core class. And there's the bottom. Not much to say about the packaging on these guys, so let's move on to the next. We'll talk about what came in that package. You do, as always, get the ever-popular warnings in multiple languages. You get the instructions. So open those up and take a look at them. Nothing too exciting here, just nice, straightforward instructions. This is a fairly simple transformation as well, being a core class. And that's it for everything that comes in the package except for his one accessory, which we'll bring that in now and take a look. This is his tail whip. So good detailing on that tail whip. Nice paint applications. You do get a little bit of a fade in the paint. Gives it some weathered look. He is supposed to look like a fossil, so that makes sense. All right, then we'll bring the little guy in for his close-up. We'll take a look at all the details on him. So let's start off with that head sculpt. There we go. So again, as I've said in previous reviews, the attention to detail on even these core class figures is really impressive. I mean, you do get a good head sculpt, you even get red painted eyes, you get nice paint apps on the mouth area. Come on down to the chest. Good detail right there. Even the insignia looks great. So, and then down here to his dino head crotch. Legs look pretty good. And then the feet. Take a look at those arms. Good detail on the arms. And then on the back. So overall, yeah, for being a small figure, he does have good detail on him. Now let's go ahead and talk about articulation on this guy in robot mode. So the head is on a ball joint, so you do get a little bit of side to side. You get a little bit back and just a tiny bit forward. In theory, this could go a full 360, but you're limited to probably a total of maybe 50 to 60 degrees of rotation just due to the interference with these collar areas. But it's still enough that you can get him in some pretty good poses for his size. Now for the arms, the shoulders are on ball joints, but if you want to just bring him up to the ball joint limit, you get about that far. And if you move around the dino arm, you do get a full 360 of rotation out of that. Elbow joint is also a ball joint, so you get 90 degrees at the elbow and pretty much any motion that you're going to want out of that as far as bicep rotation because of that ball joint. And the hands are fixed, so there is no wrist swivel, no wrist rotation, nothing like that. But again, this is a core class figure, so I wouldn't have expected to see that in the first place. You don't have anything at the waist, due in large part to the transformation. Come down here to the hips. So again, hips, ball joints, so you can get a full 360 out of the hips. They do come out this far. And because of that full 360, of course, you're virtually unlimited to how far forward and how far back you can bring those legs, just depending on how far you want to spread those out. Then you come down here to the knee. You get 90 degrees at the knee. Come down here to the foot. The foot is on a ball joint, but because of this cuff around his ankle, you do have limited range of motion. So side to side, you get about that much. You get about that much back, and about that much forward. So all things considered, for a figure this size and for this price, he's got pretty decent articulation. All right, set him down, take a look there. Now, with his accessory, you can do a couple of things here. Of course, you can have him holding it. I mean, it is his tail whip weapon, so he can hold it, he can wield it. And then you do have in the back, per the instructions, you do have storage. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to, let me set him down for a second, you're going to want to line up, these tabs right here to the slots right there. So you just take this tail, you fit that in that section. If I can see what I'm doing, pardon me for a second. There you go. And then you can just store his tail on his back in robot mode. And it's pretty unobtrusive when he's in robot mode. If you don't want him holding it, then you can just do that. Now, he, as far as I can tell, we'll go ahead and talk about effects and we'll get that out of the way. He's extremely limited on his effects compatibility. There's just not a whole lot that you're going to be able to do with this guy. The tail is not effects compatible as far as I can tell. So if you want, just for fun, we'll bring in one of the effects. It's just a loose fit on the tip, so you're not going to do anything there. And if you wanted to, for some reason, you could do that. But now I just don't know how you would hold it. So, you know, you have that. Now, for Vertebreak himself, you're limited to his hands. So if you wanted him holding fire, I guess you could do that, right? If he wants to impress somebody, oh, he holds fire. And then right here in the area for the tail, you know, if you wanted to propose possibly that maybe he ate too many beans for lunch, you know, and needs to take some Beano, maybe you could do that. Or of course you could say it's a jetpack, he's a flying dinosaur. You could do that. So that pretty much wraps up the effects portion of the review, which is really limited. Now let's go ahead and talk about transformation. Not a lot to this guy, but I will say that I do like his dino mode. So what you want to do for transformation, it's pretty easy. You could start in a couple different areas, but what I do is right here in the back, I take this back section down, and it's going to go down about that far. You don't need to take it any further than that. And then you go ahead and bring his head back. Now, when you bring this head back, it's going to hit a stop. So it's only going to come down about that far at this point. And then what you're going to want to do is you lift up this chest plate, and then you can lift up this assembly right there, that section, so that clears this portion of his gut, if you will, where you can put the head the rest of the way in. Now you can swing this the rest of the way back and drop this right in. So you should have something that looks like that. And you do have a tab here, and you have a slot right there on the back, on the spine. And it's not a solid press fit or anything, but it's enough that it gets it in the right position. And for the head, just bring that down a little bit so it's about right there. Now, these arms, you're going to bring the shoulders in. You have the this area right here is where you're going to swing those shoulders in. So you just grab those shoulders and bring them in. Do that on both sides. And down here on the forearms, you have, let's see if I can get a good view on those. You have a couple of tabs that are going to line up with this area of the chest or the lower abdomen. And again, it's not going to give you a real solid connection, but it's just enough to get those arms oriented right. So you're going to bring that in, and you're going to drop those in as soon as I can. This is a tiny figure, guys, sorry. I just got to get everything oriented right. Bring those in so they're like that. All right, so you should have something that looks like that and gets you about in that orientation right there. And then all you need to do, now he looks like he's just a little flying dino. You just swing these arms down, the dino arms, and that puts everything in place. And now we're almost to the home stretch. So all you're going to do now is you're going to take these legs, bend them forward, give them a little bit of a dino bend. And there you have that portion complete and ready for the next step, final step, which is just attaching the tail right there. So you just get that tail in there. And on my copy, this is really a tight squeeze to get that in there. But once you get that in there, then you can go ahead and set him down, and you have Vertebreak in his dino mode. That back is up a little bit. So there you go. And this is a cool little figure. I like the way he looks in dino mode. I actually prefer this mode more than I do the robot mode. And there's really only one other figure that I can say that for, and that is the Kingdom Beast Wars Megatron. I very much prefer the Kingdom Beast Wars Megatron dino mode to the robot mode, and I feel the same way about this guy. This is just he looks really cool. So let's bring him in for some detail. So take a look at that head sculpt. This is really nice. I'm really impressed with this. Sorry guys, I'm trying to get a little bit of focus and contrast here because I want to be able to show you these details. Yeah, that head sculpt looks really cool. And then of course you have the side. Little dino arms are pretty detailed as well. And then of course we've seen all this before. These are just the robot feet. So there he is from the top. There he is from the bottom. There he is running away from you. So yeah, he's pretty good looking little dinosaur. Now, articulation for the dino mode is relatively limited. You don't get a whole lot here. You do get motion in the head if you want to use it. And then you do have the mouth opens that far. So it looks like you can get a good primal scream out of him. There is no side-to-side motion on the head. It's just an up-down and then the jaw opening and closing. No motion on these arms. The only thing you can do really is, you know, if you want to open these up, kind of make it look like he's getting ready to grab somebody or try to use his little tiny arms to fly, you could do that. And then, of course, the legs, same thing that we saw in the robot mode, right? So, you know, you're on a full 360, so you can pretty much do whatever you want to do. You can bring them out that wide and pose them about however you want. And then you could orient the tail differently if you wanted, just to try to get a different look out of it. But for the most part, Dino mode is static, has just enough posability where you can get some good poses and have a little bit of fun with the guy. So yeah, not too bad. Now, let's go ahead. I'm going to do one comparison in this mode, and then I'll get him back to the robot mode. Going back to what I just said a few minutes ago, he's one of two Kingdom figures that I appreciate their alt mode or their dino mode more than their robot mode. And so let's go ahead and we'll bring in Barney, aka Beast Wars Megatron, and see if we can get both of those guys in the picture. It's like a little kid going out with dad. Hey, where are we gonna go today? Can we go to the zoo? Can we look at the animals? No, shut up. I don't know. I assume that's how their relationship would be. I mean, Megatron strikes me as a relatively dysfunctional character, so I can't see where he would be a loving father. And I don't know what rabbit hole I'm falling down right now, guys. I'm just keeping myself entertained. So yeah, there they are. Put them side by side here so you can see the size difference between a leader class and a core class in the Kingdom line. Do the side. Yeah, so pretty significant. And admittedly, I do have Megs standing a little tall right now. I know normally he would be, a little bit lower stance, I guess. That's probably a little more natural T-Rex-ish. But yeah, so there you go. So I'm just going to go ahead and keep him in the background over here. He can just stare menacingly at whatever's going on, and we'll get him transformed back into his robot mode and bring everybody else in for comparisons and get this thing wrapped up. So first things first, take that tail off. Then you're just going to straighten these legs out. Bring them down. And then you can just open these dino arms up and untab them down here. Again, these are really soft tabs. They're mostly just meant for orientation. They don't really lock in. And then swing those shoulders back out as such. And then what you can do here, open the back up, swing this down, get that out of the way. Now, when you're getting ready to collapse all this, once you get his head cleared out of there, you'll notice that right here under the jaw you have a slot. It's going to line up with this tab right there. So as you bring this down, swing that head up, collapse all this in, and then you're just going to line that slot up with that tab and give it a good squeeze and put that right in so it looks like that. And then all you do is you swing this breastplate down, bring the head up, and then close the back. And just like that, we have Vertebreak back in his robot mode. So not a whole lot to it. Still a pretty good looking little figure. Now, let's go ahead and do the rest of the comparisons. So we'll start with his fellow core class. And we will bring in the core class Optimus Prime. I do have, this is a failed print that I attempted for an Energy Axe for a core class. So it's on there if anybody's curious what in the world is on Prime's hand. It's my failed Energon Axe attempt. So bring in Optimus next to Vertebreak. And then we will bring in Mr. Rat Trap. And for three little guys, that's a nice little set right there. Those are fun. I think I mentioned at some point in the past, it's just kind of, he's a pocket Prime, and these guys are just pocket robots in their own right, and it's just really easy to just take them with you, if you want to, if you're going to go somewhere and you're going to be bored, want to play with toys. There's no shame in it. So next up, we will bring in the next biggest guy, put him in the back. We'll just get him right there so that way you have a point of comparison. So we'll take a look there and see the overwhelming size that Cyclonus has over Vertebreak. And Rat Trap, of course, but I digress. So we'll put him back there, and then we will bring in Mr. Inferno. And so, again, a significant size difference there as well. Sorry, I didn't mean to bump the camera, guys. We'll bring in Dinobot, a fellow dinosaur. So that's a pretty cool look. And Megs, I'm going to turn you this way, just so we have a little bit more room for everybody. Bring in Optimus Primal. Move him over to the side. We will bring in Black Arachnia. And we'll move her on back. Bring in Cheetor. And hopefully he will stay standing for me today. He likes to fall over on me. So it looks like we're going to get some stability out of him today. Awesome. Move Cheetor back here. And I may swap spots here between Cheetor and Primal. That way I can bring in Mr. Warpath, who, second only to the core class, is the smallest guy of the group. So yeah, there you have it. That is the Kingdom line so far. I think it's coming together pretty nicely. Oh, I need to give Vertebreak his weapon. How's he supposed to defend himself against all these other bots that are surrounding him now? There you go. Now you can defend yourself. Congratulations. Okay, so my final verdict on this guy is similar to what I've said about Rat Trap. He's $10. You know, nowadays it's really not a bad price to pay. I'll get it out. It's not a bad price to pay. He has good playability, very little effects compatibility, but overall that really doesn't detract from his fun factor. He is a core class, so you know when you get him going with these other two guys, you can get some nice poses, get some nice play out of all of it. His alt mode looks great. I really like it. I mean, he's definitely going to be in dinosaur mode when he's posed on my shelf. So overall, I have no regrets buying him. I found him at Walmart. He was $10. I have no problem with that whatsoever. I say if you can find him and you like the rest of these guys, then he's going to fit right in. You're going to enjoy this figure. He's a nice addition to the collection and adds another level of fun. So that being said, it's going to wrap this review up, guys. As always, I thank you for tuning in. You know, we're trying to get more content out there. We're trying to do the best content that we can to bring you the best viewing experience. So as I say every time, you know, I don't do this because I want to try to make money, because trust me when I tell you that's not there. I'm just doing this because I love it. So help me help you. You know, give us some likes. You know, leave us some comments. Let us know what you'd like to see, what we could be doing better. If you're watching us on Rumble, give us a Rumble. Hit that subscribe button, whether it be Rumble or YouTube. Turn on your notifications so you know when we're putting another video out. I'm making it my personal mission to try to do one of these a day. The next few days I may be a little limited in that due to my schedule, but try to keep these coming out on a regular basis. I have, not necessarily in the Kingdom line, but I have plenty more where this came from, where I can do this. So your help is always appreciated. Your input is always appreciated. And like I say, I do this because I love it. I do it because I want to spread the gospel. And any help that you guys can give me in the form of input is going to be very appreciated. So that being said, I'm going to stop talking now, let you guys get back to your days. Thank you guys for tuning in. We'll talk to you soon. Take care.